Don't sell
Right.
your services. Don't even
Right.
sell your process. Sell
Mhm.
who you are.
How did you get where you are?
How did I get where I am? Well, for me, first I had to go to school for 5 years, and I studied to be a graphic designer and a motion designer. With the training of school, then I did an internship and then found a job in graphic design.
What guided your path as an art director?
Originally, my plan for my career wasn't what I'm doing. I actually didn't even want to be in art. I wanted to be a business major, but I didn't want to wear a suit, didn't want to dress up, and I couldn't figure out a profession in the business field at that time that didn't make it so I had to wear a suit. So I was good at art. I just wanted to do something along those lines. I had seen a lot of 3D animated movies, and that's kind of what I wanted to do because my mom wanted me to do something on computers, and I can't type to save my life. So, how I ended up in art is actually just based off the fact that I didn't want to dress up.
What advice would you give to someone that wants to be in the same profession as you?
I started out as a graphic designer, moved to be a motion designer, and now I'm an art director. So, if you want to go the path to be a creative, I won't say an artist, I'll say a creative because it embodies so much more in the art field. It used to be, I would say, go to school and get trained, but now with YouTube and other online learnings and just certificate programs, I would say just figure out what it is you want to do and then find the proper avenues that can teach you those things because a lot of the stuff you can learn on your own at this point. You just need somebody to give you the opportunity to do it professionally once you develop a lot of the training. I will say this. I worked a job with an animator, and he was probably hands down one of the best ones I've ever worked with, and his name was Barrett Biggers. He didn't go to school to be an animator or an artist. He actually went to school to do something in science. Doing animation or motion graphics was kind of like a backup for him that he learned on his own just through trial and error. Then he became basically a painter because he was able to do digital art. And now he's a successful digital artist in Orlando. So you don't have to go to school to do what I'm doing, but I do recommend that you get some form of training in it in order to further your career in it.
I see you work for a company called MIG. What does MIG stand for, and what does it mean to work for MIG?
The company I currently work for is MIG, which is Multi Image Group. Matter of fact, what we actually do here is we build live experiences. We've also done digital experiences when the pandemic was still hot and heavy. Things were done in a virtual space, but we do things for like shows, corporate events, anything that can fill an arena or a ballroom. We can put it on from the graphics on the screen to the posters that you see to signage, like all that stuff we handle. We also handle the audio, the set building, so on and so on. But my role here as art director is helping the creative director come up with a vision that's unified throughout the whole show. So from video to print and whatever else is necessary, everything has to have a similar look and feel, and that's what my responsibility is within the company. But basically, the short answer is we create experiences.
How would you express, or in other words, how would you explain the day of an art director?
As an art director, I do have a fair amount of meetings that I have to sit in. It's kind of so we can get an understanding of what the project is, what's required, and come up with an approach to move forward. Also, it helps to balance out what other members of the team will be doing because in most cases as the art director, I help to develop the look and feel with the creative director and the producer. sometimes a day in the life of an art director can be quite slow. Sometimes I'm not doing much other than training myself to be able to do other things like learning how to read the budgets, learning what other people do in different positions so that I can better work well with other members of the team. Every day is not a hustle and bustle. Some days are just for training. I'm always building myself to help the team, and I'm also building myself up to be able to deliver to our clients.
What does it mean to be an art director, or what does it take? How much time and effort do I have to put in to start?
Well, the path is not the same for everybody. For me, the path to art director was a roundabout because I originally didn't want to do this. It's just as I got further into the career, I realized I'm starting to get older. So what's the next step? I don't just want to sit in the design seat forever. One, the pay kind of caps off at the design level. So the next step is to move more into managing a team and directing how things go. So I'm working my way to creative director, but the path to get there for me is through art director, learning those ins and outs, working with a creative director as my mentor, and then moving on. Now, how much time does it take to get there? For some people, they get there straight out of school. Sometimes it's based on who you know, how you network, and the body of work that you've accumulated while you were not a professional or while you were freelancing. Sometimes you can do the projects required to give you the knowledge to jump straight in. So it really varies from place to place and based on different companies' requirements. For me, it was a matter of I've held an art director title somewhere else, and so they were looking for an art director and I got hired as one. And that's kind of what it was for me. But like I said, it's not the same for everybody, and it's no set amount of time to get there.
What was the experience like when you first turned on that computer and started your first project?
So the first thing I ever felt when I got my first project as a creative was I was highly motivated to do it, but I wasn't completely confident in doing it because I didn't know what to expect in the workforce. However, I did come out with a cocky attitude up front where I felt like I can do anything at any given moment and nobody can tell me anything different. And for a lot of my jobs initially, I kind of was that person. You gave me something, you gave me a job, and I knew I can get it done better than anybody else I was working with. That's not the mentality that you want to have, because what ended up happening is I finally met my match in projects where I couldn't quite figure something out. And instead of being way up here in confidence, it quickly dropped me down because I didn't leave myself room to grow and room to learn because I felt like I knew everything. So my first experience with projects was actually being cocky and having a big head. I came out the gate very arrogant. I do advise against that, but you do have to have a certain swagger and confidence about yourself. I'm not saying go out and be a Kanye West and think that you can take on the world, but what I am saying is you do have to believe that you can do it.
And if you could go back in time and tell your past self something, what would it be and what would you change? Or is there anything you would change?
The thing that I would actually really tell myself is don't wait so long to become an art director. Don't wait until you have every skill in the bag to feel like you can move up after that. You don't have to know everything to get to where you want to go. One of the things I'm learning in being an art director, or I learned in being an art director, is there's so many other people who can do what you do or do different parts of what you do. So what you do is you learn to build a team or a network of creatives that can help you. You don't want to be left having to do everything. You don't want to be left color grading your footage. You don't want to be left doing your sound design. You don't want to be left doing your lighting and your filming and so on and so on and so on. But you do kind of want to know how to do different things, but you don't necessarily want to have to run everything in a project because it'll burn you out. What I tell myself is go for what you want early, because all it takes is for one person, one job, somebody to notice you and give you the opportunity. Because what I learned is people can train you to do most things as long as you're willing. They don't necessarily need you to know everything. They just need you to be willing to try different things. So that is the thing that I think I would tell myself.
Okay, so final question is, I just came up with this question. So what advice would you give to the younger generation?
Start finding what you love early. And it doesn't always have to be what you love. Just start finding the things that you like early and try it. Try everything that you want to do before it really counts. Because once you have a family, or once you have bills to pay, once you have things that actually count on you, you don't have the same room to just try things. Because then you're just trying to maintain the life that you have. And so it adds a pressure that you didn't have when you were younger. If you have any interest in something, do it. But don't just do it for the fun of it. Do it and actually see what it does for your life, how it benefits you, how you can spin it to make money. With social media being such a relevant thing, you can make money doing almost anything, and your age doesn't necessarily matter. So if you want to be something or do something, figure out how it can benefit the rest of your life, make your money early. Now, for those coming out of college, the thing I would say to you is, actually, before you come out of college, find an internship, find an apprenticeship, find a mentor, start doing work before you get out of college, because all that does is start padding your resume early. So when you're going to apply for jobs, people aren't just looking at you going, all you have is school experience. What they're going to see is that you took the risks, you took the things that you were learning in school, and you start applying it to actual professional work. People do want to see how much experience you really have. All school really does is tell employers or tell other people that you're going to be doing work for is that you can start something and finish it, but it doesn't say how well you can do it. So start getting your experience through internships, apprenticeships, and mentorships. Doesn't matter what you do. So until next time, I'm out.